Hey guys, this is Chris from Empire Bricks and welcome to another LEGO Star Wars set review. Today we're having a look at set 75155, the Rebel U-Wing fighter. It was released last year in 2016. It comes with 659 pieces, has 5 minifigures, and it retails for $79.99 in both dollars and euros. So this is actually the first time that I've bought a relatively new big set, even though it looks like I've been buying sets all the time, and I know I've got the USS Millennium Falcon, but still, this is just a little bit bigger than I'm used to buying, and I'm really happy with this set. But before we look at the vehicle, let's start with the minifigures. As always, it comes with 5, and the first one is Jyn Erso. So this is actually a really cool minifigure that has tons and tons of detail, and it never stops. So starting off, she has 2 weapons. So she has this kind of grenade launcher, brick-built grenade launcher piece in her one hand, and a metal gray small blaster in her other hand. So that's cool. I haven't seen anyone get 2 weapons in a long while. I'm happy they didn't go for the stud shooters this time. And the grenade launcher is, well, it's sort of simple, but it does its job. But I'm going to take them off for a while because we need to have a look at the rest of the figure. So she has a what looks like a standard Rebel helmet that we have seen on, for example, Rebel Snowtroopers before, but it's actually dual molded with a mouthpiece or microphone piece, and the hair that she has is actually molded to the hat as well. So if I take it off, you can actually see that the hair is coming with it. Also revealing her secondary face, which is more angry, but I prefer the more neutral, happy kind of faces anyway. So I'm putting this back on at the moment. The visor is detachable as well. Her torso has some great printing in the front. She's just wearing a dark blue jacket. A little bit hard to see, but there is a lot of printing on the legs as well. And I'm really happy with the colors that they used. Kind of unique color pattern that I haven't seen before. There's also back printing, although that is relatively simple. But most of it is covered up with this cloth poncho kind of piece that we also have seen with a Qui-Gon figure, I think, and is topped off with a handbag, or I think that's a little bit too ladylike for a Rebel, but at least a bag of some sort, a sachet that she carries with her. So she's really fully packed and loaded, ready to go and take on the Empire. And this is one of the most complete minifigures that I have seen in a long while. The detail is just amazing, and I'm really happy to have her in my collection. And I hope LEGO will make figures like this more often in the future. So, putting her on the side for a moment, we come to Cassian Andor, another hero from the movie. Not as equipped as Jyn, but still has some really great printing on his torso, lots of detail on his jacket, a little bit less on the back. Small downside is there is no leg printing. I think it would have been nice to see just a belt or something. Small effort in my opinion. He has a nice hairpiece and a kind of neutral face with a 5 o'clock shadow going on. If we take off the hair, you can actually see that he has not a more angry face, but kind of a smirk. And I like this smirk, so I'm going to turn it around and make this his primary face for the moment. And he comes with a gunmetal gray medium-sized blaster, which is nice. Mostly they just give you one of those with each trooper, but one of them per set, but every figure gets one in this case. So next up is what is, I think it's called Bistan or Bistan. Let's get him sharp for the camera before I go over all the details. Here he is. Bistan, I think he is called, and it's really nice to get a new race of alien with the Star Wars line. He has some kind of exotic printing with all kinds of belts and wires going on his torso, but obviously he's not a human, so he would have a different kind of attire on him. Same on the back, some triangular wire pattern and cloth going on. Not too much accessories though on this guy, except for the head, which is a separate molded piece which attaches, you know, in a different way than we are used to. It's almost like a brick on his head, but as you can see, there is a small piece of cloth. I'm not sure why he won't be sharp on my camera, but he has a small piece of cloth here in his neck, keeping the head from turning around too much. But I'm really happy to have a new kind of alien in my collection. And he also comes with a medium gunmetal gray blaster. The fourth figure is just a rebel trooper, no named figure, but still he has some awesome details. You can see he's wearing all kinds of maybe grenades, thermal detonators on his chest in sashes. Also on his back a belt and even more bags. He really looks like the troopers that we have seen in the movie, and he has some relatively simple but nice printing on his legs, which brings me to Cassian, who has no printing on his legs, but they gave the Rebel Trooper printing, so I don't know why they didn't give Cassian any printing. It's kind of a bummer. He comes with a really nice helmet that kind of reminds you of the white classic Rebel Trooper helmets, but a little bit different in camo style. If we remove it, we see that he has no secondary face, but that's no biggie because this is just a Rebel Trooper, but it's pretty cool. He looks awesome. I haven't seen this helmet before in any of the sets I own. And he also comes with a medium gunmetal gray blaster. So last but definitely not least is the U-Wing pilot. He comes with awesome printing on his entire body. So torso and legs, they match up great. Back is kind of plain, but that's what we expect from the pilots. They always have this kind of back printing. Classic pilot helmet with, I think, new or at least sort of new printing on top. If we remove it, we can see that he does come with a secondary face, of which the secondary one is the one that looks like he's supposed to crash. I'm really happy to have this guy in my collection, and he comes with a medium or a small black blaster. So no gunmetal gray for this guy, but still awesome figure to have in your collection and to add to your Rebel army. So putting all the figures aside, having a better look at the ship, and I actually need all the figures to be aside because this is a huge ship. It is a little bit cheating because the wings are really, really long, making this look pretty huge, but actually it's just this part of it is ship. But let's have a look at all the functions and details on the ship. First of all is of course the cockpit, which is a printed canopy piece, which I like. You can actually get it up by taking it out of its socket, and to open it up, we can see that there is a kind of a bracket piece in here, which holds the legs of the minifig, and has a console piece that is printed. So that's pretty cool. You can look through it, although it is not an open model. If we close up the canopy piece and turn it around for a second, you can see that there is another canopy piece on the bottom. Although this has no functionality at all, you cannot place any figures in here. It's just for looks and display, and it comes with these two stickers on the side, which I think were kind of unnecessary because you don't really see them, and they're kind of a pain to apply because this canopy piece is sloped, but also it goes from, it becomes wider and wider. So it's a hard sticker to apply, and I don't think it adds that much value. One thing I didn't mention is that you can actually open the cockpit with the studs here, which are connected to a Technic piece that will open up the cockpit. So that's a neat feature. I think it's integrated very well, and that is what this ship is all about, because I think there's a very nice balance between studded and non-studded areas, and then having something like this that looks like it's part of an engine, but you can actually use it to open the canopy piece. That's pretty great. So having a look at the top again, there is two more stickers on the sides, but I think these are actually very much necessary. I like how they are not underneath this piece, but they are actually shaped this way to go around. They're pretty easy to apply. They make the ship look great. If you would remove these stickers, I think the ship would kind of feel like naked, which is not a good thing. There's also stickers on the engine parts. Those are a little bit harder to apply, especially because you want them in the same place on every engine, so that's a bit difficult. As you can see, this one is pretty close to the edge and this one is a little bit further off. But the looks are pretty forgiving, so not a real big deal. There are more stickers, but I'll come to those in a while, because first of all I have to see the wings that can actually open. They are attached with a ball joint piece on both ends, and you can open them up and go to flight mode, I guess, because with the wings closed there is an attack mode, and this is flight mode. And the ship becomes even bigger with the wings out, but it looks awesome, it works great. So they're attached, clipped together here as well, so they won't move once you have opened them, and it makes the whole vehicle very swooshable. Going to close them up again. I'm going to have a look at the bottom, because I showed you the canopy piece before. It's over here, it has no functionality, but there is some functionality in the bottom, and that is the sort of the cargo room or the holding area for minifigs. There are stickers on these pieces, pretty easy to apply, no comment there, it's fine, it looks great, it's on both sides. But what you can do is actually take this handlebar, pull it open, and then open these doors to reveal an inside. I'll open the other side as well to let a little bit more light in. And what you can see is there's room for minifigs, of course. You can place 2 to 4 minifigs depending if they're standing or sitting, but there's also this stud shooter that can come out. You can turn it in several ways and start shooting at the troops, enemy troops outside. So I think that's a pretty neat feature, and it really makes this a starfighter and a dropship all in one, which I think is a pretty great option. And it's also nice that you can put in actually all the minifigs, because you can, of course, put one of the figs here, the pilot, and the other 4 figures should fit inside of the holding area. So that's pretty great. On the back there is this ramp piece, which has no functionality, but I think this is supposed to be where the figures, or at least in the movie, they would enter the ship, but there's just, greepling on it now. Maybe it's not even supposed to be a ramp, but just an engine, I don't know, but you can actually open it if you want to. So putting this down for a second, and having a look at the final thoughts about this ship. I think the ship is great. It's a really neat build. I was kind of worried that would be repetitive, because there's 4 engines that are almost exactly the same. There's 2 wings that are almost exactly the same, but the construction of the ship is almost, one of the best I've seen around. Having said that, there is one more functionality I want to show you guys, because all this is very sleek, but it comes with the spring-fired missiles as well. They are over here, you can see them here, and I was completely baffled by how they managed to implement those, because you can actually see, I'll just turn it to the wall so I don't hit anybody, but there's 2 tiles sticking out, and if you actually press them, it just shoots the missiles out. And the nice thing is that it's all brick built. It's hard to explain how this works, but if you have a chance, look up the instructions online and check it out, because this is just ingenious. It's all brick built, it works fine, and there's just great. If you put in the spring-fired missiles again, over here you can actually see the tile coming up again, and I haven't seen anything like this before, and this ship is just full of technique. There's so many different kinds of building in here that I was amazed. It's a great ship, it's a great build. It has a pretty awesome minifigure collection. I mean, 5 minifigs with a ship is great. Jyn Erso is one of the best I've seen around. But the price, it's $80, not even 600 pieces. So, that's way up of where it should be, I think. For $70, that would be, pricey. $60 would be great, but 80 is just too much. Even with all the great minifigs and stuff like that. But if you can find it on sale, this is a great ship. The biggest pros, I think, are the minifigure selection for sure, and the amazing building techniques in the ship. I think the biggest con is the price, even though I would rather not, name that as a con because Lego is expensive. That's just how it works. Yeah, if anything, I would have liked more functionality on a ship this big. Maybe open up the bottom canopy or something like that. So those are my final thoughts. I hope you liked this review. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you at the next video.